In some ways they were, but the story was that pregnancy was just much of something that really took a toll on my mother. So much that she had to spend most of the time in bed, and then she had to have other people look after her as well. So, as far as the family, the larger family is concerned, my granddad and even my father as well was of view that I think pregnancy is the reason why she then becomes bedridden and things of that nature. So then she went on to say, there's something very interesting then happened after that, sort of when she started taking the contraceptives for months on end, because there's a bit of a gap. I think there's almost a 5 year gap between the third born and myself. So one day she says her maternal, so my maternal grandmother, so my mother's mother, at a completely different location. Um, and this, I'm just stating it as it said. So it's a belief thing. Some people might hear this and be like, "Oh, that's a bit peculiar. That's a bit different." But this is exactly what my mother told me. So several years down the line, my mother, my maternal grandmother, so my mother's mother, is in a totally different village. She says one night she's trying to fall asleep. Then she has a recurring dream, not once, not twice, but three times, of a gentleman that's dressed in a white gown that keeps telling her, you know what, you need to go tell your daughter that she needs to stop taking these tablets, these contraceptives, um, and because she's going to have a son or a child, there was no specific gender. She's going to have a child that's going to look after her. It's going to have a very special child. And this is, again, this is I'm very conscious of imposing or sort of saying things that my mother didn't say, but my mom was like, you're going to have a special child, so you need to stop taking these contraceptives and have a child. Mind you, that conversation between my maternal grandmother and my mother hadn't happened where my maternal grandmother didn't even know that her daughter was on contraceptives. So very, very, very specific kind of dream. Yeah? So it happened once, twice, three times, one specific night. And then on that sort of instruction, my maternal grandmother decided to jump on a bus and visit my mother and pretty much just told her, this is the dream that I've had. I saw something very peculiar. A gentleman in a dream in a white gown came to me in a dream and said, stop taking this medication because you're going to have a very special child that's going to look after you. Um, so it so happened that, my mom has this conversation with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, and my mother being, the stubborn woman that she is, or very obedient woman that she was back then.
Or
She
submissive is the right word, right?
submissive. Yeah, you're probably right. But if you if
Well,
you
it's a
if you
good thing
if you had to
depending on how you look at
if
it.
you had to have a conversation with my mother now, she doesn't come across as that. She's a very, I'm very much stubborn, like most people tend to say. So then my mom asked my mother why, and my grandmother why, and I remember she remembers my mom saying that some things don't have to make sense. Just do as you're told, right? And voila, my mother stopped taking these tablets, and 9 months down the line, Taquana was born. So again, before I was born, it was a surprise to everybody. We thought you were taking contraceptives. What happened here, and this and the fourth.
Was this one a smooth pregnancy or the same?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
The irony of it all three pregnancies were very tough. Even the birth was very tough. But come to Kwana, mom was not bedridden. Mom didn't have sort of a very tough delivery and things of that nature. It was
It
pretty
was all
much smooth
smooth.
sailing.
Oh,
I was born at night, apparently around 4 in the morning. So it was again, the family got together, they had a gathering, and they said, and we're going to name this boy Takwana so that you know that it's enough.